This hotel in West Hollywood, located at 8152 Sunset Boulevard between Crescent Heights and Havenhurst at the east end of Sunset Strip, originally a 2.5-acre estate called Havenhurst. It was built in 1913 in the private residence of real estate developer William H. Hay. It opened in January of 1927. Architectural style was Spanish colonial revival architecture. Located on the Sunset Strip at 8152 Sunset Boulevard, construction started in 1922.
And what's now known as West Hollywood. It was originally part of Hollywood.
Now, on January 9, 1927, Clara accompanied the actor Gilbert Rowland to the Garden of Aaliyah's grand opening party. Nova's estate had come to be known as the Garden of Allah, named after both herself and a popular 1905 novel by Robert Hitchens that was turned into a movie starring Marlene Dietrich in 1936. Now, representation of the list of Garden of Aaliyah Hotel's famous guests included Lauren Bacall, Taylor Bankhead, John Barrymore, Donna Beach, Lucas Beebe, Robert Benchley, Humphrey Bogart, Clara Bowl. Now, the famous hotel was then in an unincorporated area of Los Angeles, which is usually considered a part of Hollywood, at 8152 Sunset Boulevard between Crescent Heights. As you can see, what was there, there's a picture there that shows what was after it was torn down, where it says Worship Mutual and McDonald's. That's what used to be there. And now it's just a vacant lot waiting for something else to be built there. It's all fenced off. You'll see the dirt, but I included some pictures where you can see what it looked like in its heyday. In 1930, owners renamed it to the Garden of Aaliyah Hotel. The property operated under successful of owners for 3 decades until the last. Bart Layton, the owner of Layton Net Savings and Loan, demolished the hotel in 1959 and replaced with the bank's main branch, which is right there where it shows the Washington Mutual area. And you can see the sign there. Now, Havenhurst, the estate that became the Garden of Aaliyah Hotel, was built in 1913 by real estate developer William H. Hay. The northwest corner of Crescent Heights and the neighborhood of 168-acre tract bounded by Sunset Boulevard on the north, Santa Monica Boulevard on the south, Crescent Avenue, later named Fairfax Avenue, on the east, and Sweetser Avenue on the west, which Hay had subdivided and developed starting in 1905. The estate's originally address was 8080 Sunset Boulevard, but was later changed to 8152. It occupied 2.5 acres in front of the Sunset Boulevard and bound by Crescent Heights Boulevard on the east and Havenhurst. Havenhurst Drive on the west. The property's southern boundary was on the border between the Hollywood district of the city of Los Angeles that was unincorporated, and it now became the city of West Hollywood. Hay and his current wife Catherine personally supervised construction on the estate. The house had 12 rooms and 4 bathrooms. The finishes were all in circumcision walnut that Hayes had collected on a trip to the Philippines in 1912. The interior walls was covered in canvas and hand-painted. The garage had bays for 2 cars, a rarity in those days, with rooms upstairs for the live-in servants. Construction and landscaping cost an estimated $30,000. The Directors Guild of America's headquarters, William Hearst, also purchased in Cedar Ranch a large tract of land in San Fernando Valley, and that he would develop into an upscale Encino neighborhood in Los Angeles. Havenhurst reportedly stood unoccupied for 7 years. Now, the stage's screen actresses Ala Lisa Havenhurst was from New York in 1918. She purchased it outright in 1919 and jokingly called the new home the Garden of Allah, which was referenced in the name of the best-selling 1901 The Garden of Allah. Now, catering to both the short-term and the long-term Guests, the hotel soon gained a reputation as a place where famous could enjoy living in a quaint, cozy village-like setting and conveniently located yet shielded from gawking tourists and autograph seekers by discreet security patrols under management that was not inclined to prejudge or interfere with the private and sometimes public activities of its own unconventional patrons. The Garden of Valea became home to many celebrities and literary figures like F. Scott Fitzgerald lived there for several months in 1937-38, and beginning on his final stay in Hollywood, he wrote himself a postcard while there. Dear Scott, how are you? Have you been meaning to come to see you? I have living at the Garden of Valea, yours, Scott Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald's biographer and lover Sheila Graham later wrote a book about the place titled simply The Garden of Leah. Humorist and actor Robert Benchley was a frequent resident at an array of golden age of Hollywood stars and featuring players ranging from Greta Garbo to Ronald Reagan. Stayed there at the latest briefly, and so did classical music giants Sergei Renoff, who had musically assaulted there to be annoyed Harper March, Igor Stravinsky, and Jessica Chascha. Hitchcock and Humphrey Bogart lived in Villa 8, where Earl Flynn stayed, where Bogart was out of town. Gloria Stewart and Arthur Shriekman lived in Villa 12. Dance-bound leaders Benny Goodman and Artie Shaw and vocalist Frank Sinatra were among the pop personalities, and Kay Thompson, then designing musical numbers by Judy Garland and their own nightclub at the act of the Williams brothers. Like the Thompsons later wrote about a little girl who lived in the Hotel Eloise. It was purchased by Linton Savings. Also, celebrities such as Earl Flynn were still calling it home in late as 1957. By the time the hotel's architectural style was long out of fashion and envious had become lackey, then glamorous land values were rising. Historic preservation was still an aesthetic notion, and redevelopment was a popular civic buzzword. On April 11, 1959, Bart Layton, president of Layton Savings and Loans, announced that he had purchased the Garden of Valea Hotel from Beatrice Rosens and Morris Markovich for $755,000. Layton's plans for the property included raising the hotel to make room for a new main branch for a bank, which had formerly been headquartered in Canoga Park neighborhood in the San Fernando Valley. August 22, 1959, Layton hosted a farewell party on the grounds of the hotel. Among the attendees were silent film stars Francis X. Bushman, who had been an opening party in 1927. Some other stars came costumed in old-time stars. In the night of the hotel's creator, Nelson's Experience 1923 silent film Solomon was shown in a large full-size screen on August 30th. An on-site public auction liquidated all the furnishings, fixtures, and equipment along the odds and ends valuable only as souvenirs. Demolition permits were issued on November 2nd. Within days, all traces of the hotel were gone, and construction of the bank building had begun. A miniature model in 1960 of the Garden of Valea appeared on the site in the form of a detailed miniature model of the complex. Many years later, this was displayed outside the Linens building in a small plaza at the corner of Sunset and Crescent Heights, sheltered from elements in a sort of a stride with a lofty dome pavilion. It was later moved indoors and eventually disappeared. It resurfaced in private hands in the early 2010s, architecturally intact, and was built in miniature electric lighting system restored.
There you go.